Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things we're talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We
It's
have
time
arrived.
to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We
It's
have
time to
arrived.
demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to
First
demand the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here. Let's look at what we're dealing with today. Today is the 18th of April, Good Friday on the Gregorian calendar. Today we have a moon sign in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a fire sign. Sagittarius in the tarot cards is the card of temperance. It's the angel, the higher self. Sagittarius represents higher learning, philosophy, things of this nature. Jupiter is the planet that rules over Sagittarius, so there's the idea of expansion with what Sagittarius is about. Sagittarius is the extension of Gemini kind of to the next level. That's where the expansion comes in. So it's that communication but taken to a philosophical, spiritual level. Then we have our sun sign, which is Aries, same as it was the other day. So we have fire and we have fire, double fire going on today. Lots of ideas moving around in the air. The signs that we have, squares. We had a square going on today between Sagittarius and Neptune. That effect will be felt over the course of the day. We also have a nice trine later on this evening between Sagittarius and Uranus, which is nice, unexpected changes, surprises, things like that. And then also this evening there's a square, which is a lesson between Venus, that our imagination, and Sagittarius, that truthfulness within us, and how we're going to use that, our imagination, to express the truthfulness or not that's around us. So something we're dealing with there later tonight. Okay, and then we've got the weekend coming up, where we're going to be dealing with change tomorrow into Capricorn, where we'll be also on Sunday as well. Alright, very good. And we're going to move from here over to our numerology for today. Numerology for today is a 2. 2 is sensitive, tactful, diplomatic, cooperative. They tend to be peacemakers, loving, studious, patient. They may express many musical feminine qualities. 2s in the tarot card is the High Priestess, which also is the moon. Okay, our number for today, 2, can be arrived at in this way. Let me show you what we've got here. Here's how we got it at 2 today. 4, 18, 1 plus 8, 9, 201, 4, 7. Altogether it's a 20. 2 plus 0 is 2. Okay, so that's how we got it to 2 today. See some of the other characteristics of it. And this card here is the tarot card that represents the 2, High Priestess. So let's jump over here. Here's the path of the High Priestess right here in the middle. This is the inner chamber. You enter that inner chamber by going through the door. And the Hebrew letter on this card here, the Empress, is actually Daleth, which means door. So you go through a door to enter the inner chamber, the inner temple within. The door is through our wisdom and understanding. We use our imagination to cross and bridge the wisdom, the things we learn, the things we know. Okay, we bridge those together with our imagination, and that allows us access into that inner temple, where we're able to go and meet with ourselves, that spiritual part of ourselves. All right, so that's the numerology for today. And then, of course, if we look, we know where the Aries is right here, and the Temperance right here in the middle. Okay, that would be the Sagittarian energy. So it's always good. I like to look at this symbol. I actually have a symbol of this in my place, so I can always look and see where the energies are and how you get back, just like a circuit, an electrical circuit. And once you see where you are, you figure out how to get back, and it's quite helpful. Quite helpful indeed. All right, our current moon phase is 87% full, making its way down to a new moon. The sky image tonight says Jupiter shines right through the big arch of the spring this year. The arch spans most of the western sky. Pollux and Castor form its top as seen from the mid-northern latitudes, and their lower left one is the arch. Procyon is much further to the lower right, the other end Capella. Okay, we don't have a picture here of that, but as you're looking, that's what you'll be seeing. Procyon, Capella at the lower right and left ends. The Mayan Oracle, we're at a new wave spell, a one wave spell. This is the dog, so it's all about love, loyalty, the heart. This is our theme for the next 13 days. Phrase for today is I unify in order to love. Attracting loyalty, I seal the process of heart with the magnetic tone of purpose. I am guided by my own power doubled. Space weather, our solar wind is currently at 440.9 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is quiet, between a 2 and a 3 like it was the other day. M-class flare possibility still sits at 60%, and we're 55% in the high latitudes of having some sort of a geomagnetic storm activity. Over here on the Jewish calendar, just to see where we're at today, 18 Nisan, 4th day of Passover. Okay. There you have it. That gets us started. Let me jump away for a moment. I'll be back with more. Stay tuned. Actually, you know what? UFO news is up next. Let's go right to that.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Thank you very much. Today's UFO news starts off over at the moon. So again, another anomaly right here. There's a small greenish object on the moon from NASA Apollo 16 mission. There it is right there. Okay, you can see the original photos. Found this green object in an Apollo photo. When you look at the photos with a lot of gray shades everywhere, even a tiny green object stands out. First, thought this object was an emerald. However, when I found other photos of the same rock, the object was no longer there. This means it have to have passed in front of the camera as it took the photo. Perhaps some kind of biological life form that can exist in space. If life form develops not needing oxygen, then what can stop it from living in space? Okay, so here you got a 4-minute video. This is Scott C. Waring explaining exactly what's here, how he found it, and there it is right there. Okay, so the video's there, so you can check it out, listen to what he has to say. And we're going to go over to, well, here's another sighting over Arizona. Was seen a meteor or something else. Question is, NASA says UFO over Arizona this week was only a meteor. Can we still trust NASA? Well, it's a good question because NASA doesn't always seem to be straightforward on what is out there. NASA is telling Fox News 10 that the object was being reported was a UFO. As a UFO over Arizona is actually a meteor. The object was caught on the camera at New Mexico State University and shows the object streaking across the sky. NASA was quick to say it was a meteor. However, can we trust them? This is the same area where in 2008 at Needles, California, just 5 minutes from Arizona, a blue UFO crashed and was seen by multiple eyewitnesses as USAF helicopters retrieved it, carried its glowing blue body off to a local airport where a Janus plane full of scientists awaited it. What I'm saying is that this object could be alien tech in U.S. Air Force hands, a top secret experiment entering the Earth's atmosphere, and NASA was told to cover it up. Okay, so here we have this first video, which is the Fox News report, and then here we have more of that as well. Okay, I'm going to leave those for you. I'm going to jump on, continue. Here we have a compilation of sightings that go from January through now. It's 12 minutes and 26 seconds worth of video sightings. It says a variety of UFOs which were observed by multiple witnesses. The video shows why there is something in the sky, and many believe these objects to be intelligent. UFOs at night are the most common. Here's the best choice in 2014. Okay, so there's a nice good collection here. Takes us all the way back to the beginning of the year. So if you remember some of the ones we saw, have seen, there's been so many of them. Well, we definitely can say we are not imagining things in the sky. So the next question is, what are these objects? Are these man-made by us here on Earth, our military? Or are these from something else, somewhere else, carrying extraterrestrial occupants? That seems to be the big question. Okay. Alright, so there you go. Good number, good amount of UFOs. Okay. Alright, there you go. You know, one thing that's always fascinating with the UFO sightings, as much as the sighting itself, is listening to the reactions of the person who's viewing it. There's a variety of reactions, and some of them are pretty classic. So it's good because it just lets us know, you know, these are real experiences. You can tell when someone's faking it. You can tell when someone's having a real experience, and it's kind of cool just to see those things. All right, here we have read the official statement by Laura Magdalene Eisenhower on ET invasion. Let's see here. Laura Magdalene Eisenhower, ET invasion has already occurred and the government do not want us to know. Got a YouTube video here. It says, in an Exopolitics TV interview with Alfred Lambremont-Webre, cosmologist Laura Magdalene Eisenhower affirmed that an extraterrestrial invasion had already occurred and governments do not want us to know. Reiterating her statement before the World Symposium in San Marino, Ms. Eisenhower stated that there has been a massive cover-up in regards to ET contact with our governments, and there has been much secrecy in regards to those who have been either abducted or contacted. This is because an invasion has already taken place and they don't want us to know. The invasion has infiltrated every sector of our society, in disguise to most, but blatantly obvious to many. When we look at the whistleblower technology, it is clear that some sort of deal was made with a group of ETs, and from what I've discovered, this began before Ike, former U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower, Miss Eisenhower's great-grandfather. And then she said this happened before he ever stepped into office. Her official statement is set below. I have a link to this right here. If we click on it, let's see what her official statement is. Okay, it's not getting us there very quickly, so I'm just going to leave that for you, then you can go read it. And I'm going to go to our last story here for the UFO news segment. This is from UFO Evidence, Crop Circles, Signs from Above or Human Artifacts. The following article was sent to Dave Haith by the well-respected UFO and paranormal researcher Jacques Vallée and posted on UFO updates, mailing lists. Dave states this may not be a popular theory for the formation of crop circles and raises 1,000 issues, but surely deserves discussion. Some personal speculations on fractal theme. The key to investigating anomalies often lies in asking the right questions rather than pondering a long list of assumed answers and fighting over hypotheses. The crop circles have adorned English fields in the last couple of decades are a good example of this principle. Many well-intentioned paranormal investigators and New Age enthusiasts have already posited that the circles must be caused by aliens, while the general opinion of journalists and academics tend to state that they were products of hoaxes. Indeed, 2 retired men were featured in the world media as the confessed authors of many crop circles. Over the years, interested researchers, including this author, have met with and interviewed self-described artists who had generated complex crop formations as a new type of display where the landscape is used as a canvas to shock popular consciousness and stimulate reaction. There is no question that at least some of the formations, including some remarkably complex ones, are their handiwork. This leaves most of the formations unexplained, especially those that have appeared in a very short time under conditions of very high mathematical accuracy. Drawing a bicycle or a spider in a wheat field is one thing. The Mandelbrot set of fractal geometry is quite another. When sophisticated formations started appearing in the English countryside, several teams of UFO investigators who came from a background of soil and trace studies related to the familiar imprints often left behind after sightings such as Delphos or Trans and Providence, began to take notice. Rather than jumping to conclusion about the origin and purpose of the formations, they drew up a list of fundamental questions that went like this. Is there a change in the nature of the formations over time? What is exactly that happens to the vegetation inside the affected areas? Is there anything special about the location of the phenomenon? To seek information on these topics, they established a protocol to gather vegetation samples and then sent them to a number of laboratories and for microscopic studies. Results, which have been discussed at meetings at the Society for Scientific Exploration and other public events, have never seen sufficient interest for the media to take notice, perhaps because they conflicted with sensational nature of the hypothesis. The answers are as follows. The early formations were simple circles, then circles with satellites. In later years, more and more sophisticated and precisely drawn geometric figures appeared. Vegetation is bent because the nodes are exploded. The stalks are not broken, and indeed the plants often start growing again. At the significant formations were observed in an area in close proximity to major facilities of the British defense establishment, often in a controlled airspace. So much for aliens and druids. These studies point to the crop formations as part of sophisticated electronic warfare experiments conducted by defense contractors. The answer to question 1 provides the first clue. If you are trying to calibrate a beam, drawing on a pattern over a wheat field can yield precision information within the diameter of the stalk over hundreds of feet, an ideal test situation. The answer to question 2 narrows down the type of energy that can be responsible, because the amount of heat radiation that needs to be coupled into one node of stalk of wheat to vaporize the water content is a known quantity, as laboratory tests in France and the United States soon established. The answer to question 3 points to the likely authors of the tests. It is tempting to jump to the conclusion that some sort of space-based weapon is being developed. I'm reluctant to assume this because of the costs involved. Even if satellites represent the ultimate platform for such a weapon, which does not seem obvious to me, the calibration test can be carried out far more cheaply from a conventional aircraft, and in those cases when witnesses on the ground have seen formations in the process of being created, they have described a reddish glow around ground level with the vegetation bent over in a matter of minutes. This would be consistent with a beam directed at the field from a hovering dirigible, painting a figure very much in the same way as electronic beam paints a digital image of a computer screen. From conversation I've had with the investigators involved, the beam would unlikely be a simple infrared beam. Instead, a combination of laser and microwave transmitters may be involved to form a master. Perhaps the increasingly sophisticated tests are designed precisely to discover optimal conditions. Well, there's a lot more to the article. It's pretty interesting theory. So check it out. See what you think. I'm going to continue on with news. I'm going to jump away, give you Great Spirit just for a few minutes, and then I'll be back.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Continue on. So this is the reading list just to show you here. We're following along so you can follow along over the weekend. Fourth day of Passover, Nisan 18 Nisan. So today I'm reading Exodus 22, 24 to 23. Okay, so that's exactly what's pulled up here. Here we go. And my wrath will burn, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall become widows, and your children fatherless. If you lend money to any of my people with you who is poor, you shall not be like a moneylender to him, and you shall not extract interest of him. If ever you take your neighbor's cloak in pledge, you shall return it to him before the sun goes down, for that is the only covering, and it is his cloak for his body, and what else shall he sleep? And if he cries to me, I will hear, for I am compassionate. You shall not revile God, nor curse a ruler of your people. You shall not delay to offer from your fullness of your harvest, and from the outflow of your presses, the firstborn of your sons, and you shall give to me. You shall do the same with your oxen, your sheep. 7 days it shall be with its mother. On the 8th day you shall give it to me. You shall be consecrated to me. Therefore you shall not eat any flesh that is torn by beasts in the field. You shall throw it to the dogs. You shall not spread a false report. You shall not join hands with a wicked man to be a malicious witness. You shall not fall in with many who do evil, nor shall you bear witness in a lawsuit, siding with the many so as to pervert justice, nor shall you be partial to a poor man in his lawsuit. If you meet your enemy's ox or his donkey going astray, you shall bring it back to him. If you see the donkey of one who hates you lying down under its burden, you shall refrain from leaving him with it. You shall rescue it with him. You shall not pervert the justice due to the poor in his lawsuit. Keep far from false charges, and do not kill the innocent and the righteous, and I will not acquit the wicked. For you shall take no bribes, for a bribe blinds the clear-sighted and subverts the cause of those who are in the right. You shall not oppress a sojourner. You know of heart of a sojourner, for you were sojourners in the land of Egypt. For 6 years you shall sow your land and gather in its field, but the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow, that the poor of your people may eat, and what they leave the beasts of the field may eat. You shall do likewise with your vineyard and with your olive orchard. 6 days you shall do your work, but on the 7th day you shall rest, that your oxen and your donkey may have a rest, and your son of your servant's woman and the alien may be refreshed. Pay attention that all I have said to you, and make no mention of the names of other gods, nor let it be heard on your lips. 3 times a year you shall keep a feast to me. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread, as I commanded you, and you shall eat unleavened bread for 7 days at the appointed time in the month of Abib. For in it you came out of Egypt. None shall appear before me empty-handed. You shall keep the feast of harvest, of the first fruits of your labor, of what you sow in the field. You shall keep the feast of ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather in from the field the fruit of your labor. 3 times in the year shall all males appear before the Lord God. You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with anything leavened, or let the fat of my feast remain until the morning. The best of the first fruits of the ground you shall bring into the house of the Lord. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. All right, so very interesting, specific guidelines set forth there in Exodus. So very good, very good. All right. Let's continue on. I'm going to do the next chapter in the Kryballion because there's quite a bit more. So let me jump back to the index. Okay, here's our index. So we've gone over the 7 principles: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. We've spent time now. We've gone over the chapters. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chapters dealing with the mind. The first one, mentalism. Yesterday, the planes of correspondence. Today we're going to go to vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. The Kryballion. The third great Hermetic principle, the principle of vibration, embodies the truth that motion is manifest in everything in the universe. There is nothing, that nothing is at rest, that everything moves, vibrates, and circles. This Hermetic principle was recognized by some of the early Greek philosophers who embodied it in their system. But then, for centuries, it was lost by the thinkers outside of the Hermetic ranks. But in the 19th century, physical science rediscovered the truth, and the 20th century scientific discoveries have added additional proof to the correctness and truth of the centuries-old Hermetic doctrine. The Hermetic teachings are that not only is everything in constant movement and vibration, but that the differences between the various manifestations of the universal power are due entirely to the varying rate and mode of vibrations. Not only this, but that even the all in itself manifests a constant vibration of such infinite degree of intensity and rapid motion that it may be practically considered as at rest, the teachers directing the attention of the students to the fact that even on the physical plane a rapidly moving object, such as a revolving wheel, seems to be at rest. The teachings are in effect that the spirit is at one end of the pole of vibration, the other pole being certain extremely gross forms of matter. Between these two poles are millions upon millions of different rates and modes of vibration. Modern science has proven that all that we call matter and energy are but modes of vibratory motion, and some of the more advanced scientists are rapidly moving towards the positions of the occultists who hold that the phenomena of mind are likewise modes of vibration of motion. Let us see what science has to say regarding the question of vibrations in matter and energy. In the first place, science teaches that all matter manifests in some degree, that vibrations arising from temperature or heat, be an object cold or hot, both being but degrees of the same thing, it manifests certain heat vibrations, and in that sense is in motion and vibration. Then all particles of matter are in circular movement, from corpuscle to suns. The planets revolve around suns, and many of them turn on their axes. The suns move around greater central points, and these are believed to move around still greater, and so on, ad infinitum. The molecules of which the particular kind of matter are composed are in a state of constant vibration and movement around each other and against each other. The molecules are composed of atoms, which likewise are in a state of constant movement and vibration. The atoms are composed of corpuscles, sometimes called electrons, ions, etc., which are also in a state of rapid motion, revolving around each other, and which manifest on a very rapid state and rapid mode of vibration. And so we shall see that all forms of matter manifest vibration in accordance with the Hermetic principle of vibration. And so it is with the various forms of energy. Science teaches that light, heat, magnetism, and electricity are but forms of vibratory motion connected in some way with and probably emanating from the ether. Science does not as yet attempt to explain the nature of the phenomena known as cohesion, which is the principle of molecular attraction, nor chemical affinity, which is the principle of atomic attraction, nor gravitation, which is the principle of attraction by which every particle of mass or matter is bound to every other particle or mass. These three forms of energy are not as yet understood by science, yet the writers incline to the opinion that these two are manifestations of some form of vibratory energy, a fact which Hermeticists have held and taught for ages past. The universal ether, which is postulated by science without its nature being understood clearly, is held by Hermeticists to be a higher manifestation of that which is erroneously called matter. That is to say, matter at a higher degree of vibration, and is called by them the ethereal substance. The Hermeticists teach that this ethereal substance is of extreme tenuity and elasticity and pervades universal space, serving as a medium of a transmission of waves of vibratory energy, such as heat, light, electricity, magnetism, etc. The teachings are that the ethereal substance is a connecting link between the forms of vibratory energy known as matter on one hand, and energy and force on the other, and also that it manifests a degree of vibration in a rate of mode and entirely on its own. Scientists have offered the illustration of a rapidly moving wheel, top or cylinder, to show the effects of increasing rates of vibration. The illustration supposes a wheel top or revolving cylinder running at a low rate of speed. We will call this revolving thing the object in following out the illustration. Let us suppose the object moving slowly. It may be seen readily, but no sound of its movement reaches the ear. The speed is gradually increased, and in a few moments its movements become so rapid that a deep growl or low noise may be heard. When at the rate is increased, the note rises in the musical scale. Then the motion is still further increased, the next higher note is distinguished. Then, one after another, all of the notes of the musical scale appear, rising higher and higher as the motion is increased. Finally, when the motions have reached a certain rate, the final note perceptible to human ears is reached, and the shrill, piercing shriek dies away and silence follows. No sound is heard from the revolving object, the rate of motion being so high that the human ear cannot register the vibrations. Then comes the perception of rising degrees of heat. Then after quite a time the eye catches a glimpse of the object becoming a dull, dark, reddish color. As the rate increases, the red becomes brighter. Then as the speed is increased, the red melts into an orange. Then the orange melts into a yellow. The yellow successively into shades of green, blue, indigo, and finally violet as the rate of speed increases. Then the violet shades away and the color disappears, the human eye not being able to register them. But there are the invisible rays emanating from the revolving object, the rays that are used in photographing and other subtle rays of light. Then begin to manifest peculiar rays known as X-rays, etc. As the constitution of the object changes. Electricity and magnetism are emitted when the approximate rate of vibration is attained. When the object reaches a certain rate of vibration, its molecules disintegrate and resolve themselves into the original elements of atoms. Then the atoms, following the principle of vibration, are separated into the countless corpuscles of which they are composed, and finally even the corpuscles disappear, and the object may be said to be composed of the ethereal substance. Science does not dare to follow the illustration further, but the Hermeticists teach that if the vibrations be continually increased, the object would mount upon the successive states of manifestation and would in turn manifest the various mental stages, and then on the spirit word, until they would finally re-enter the All, which is absolute spirit. The object, however, would have ceased to be an object long before the stage of ethereal substance was reached, but otherwise the illustration is correct inasmuch as it shows the effect of constantly increased rates and modes of vibration. It must be remembered in the above illustration that at the stages at which the object throws off vibrations of light, heat, etc., it is not actually resolved into those forms of energy, which are much higher in the scale, but simply it reaches a degree of vibration in which those forms of energy are liberated in a degree from the confining influence of its molecules, atoms, and corpuscles, as the case may be. These forms of energy, although much higher in the scale than matter, are imprisoned and confined in material combinations by reason of the energies manifesting through and using material forms, but thus becoming entangled and confined in their creations of material forms, which to an extent is true of all creations, the creating force becoming involved in its creation. But the Hermetic teachings go much farther than those do of modern science. They teach that all manifestation of thought, emotion, reason, will, or desire, or any mental state is a condition, are accomplished by vibrations, a portion of which are thrown off and which tend to affect the mind of other persons by induction. This is the principle which produces the phenomena of telepathy, mental influence, and other forms of the action and power of mind over mind, which the general public is rapidly becoming acquainted. owing to the wide dissemination of occult knowledge by the various schools, cults, and teachers along these lines of thought. Every thought, emotion, or mental state has its corresponding rate and mode of vibration, and by an effort of the will of the person or the other persons, these mental states may be reproduced just as a musical tone may be reproduced by causing an instrument to vibrate at a certain rate. Just as color may be reproduced in the same way by a knowledge of the principles of vibration as applies to mental phenomena, one may polarize his mind to any degree he wishes, thus gaining perfect control over his mental states, moods, etc. In the same way he may affect the minds of others, producing the desired mental states in them. In short, he may be able to produce on the mental plane that which science produces on the physical plane, namely, vibrations at will. This power, of course, may be acquired only by the proper instruction, exercises, practice, etc., the science being all of the mental transmutation, one of the branches of the Hermetic art. A little reflection on what we have said will show the student that this principle of vibration underlies the wonderful phenomena of the power manifested by the masters and the adepts, who are able to apparently set aside the laws of nature, but who in reality are simply using one law against another, one principle against others, and who accomplish their results by changing the vibrations of material objects or forms of energy, and thus perform what are commonly called miracles. As one of the old Hermetic writers has truly said, he who understands the principle of vibration has grasped the scepter of power. Okay, so very good. Good information there. Read through it again if you need to. You know, I was having a conversation with someone the other day. We were talking about the different books on the show, and I was just explaining how for myself, as well as anyone who's listening, I'm going through this learning process as well. I don't know all of this. I am intrigued by this information, and I find it to be a lifelong or many lifetime study. I've been through these books over and over before again, and I'm sure I'll read them again because every time when I do, I get a little bit more from them. And so I'm basically just sharing what I find is helpful for me, and you find the information in it and you learn from it, and some of you write back and tell me your thoughts on it, and it's just a great way to learn. That's ultimately what I believe we all should be doing, sharing information with us. And when we do, just imagine the world that we have, because we're working with each other instead of against. All right, let's go over to this article here. This is in 5D. A door is about to open. Many people can sense something different in the air, but not quite put their finger on it. Many of us feel as though we are living in extraordinary times, yet we are unsure of what is about to unfold. What we can tell you from past history is that when you feel like this, a door is about to open. So how can these feelings be measured? Global consciousness, sometimes called field consciousness, is a notion that when groups of people focus their minds on the same thing, they influence the world at large. Roger Nelson heads the Global Consciousness Project, which is an organization that collects data from around the world in an effort to prove the global consciousness exists. Nelson published a study called Wishing for Good Weather, which appeared in the Journal for Scientific Exploration in 1997. The following is an excerpt from this abstract. Reunion and commencement activities at Princeton University involving thousands of alumni, graduates, family, and others are held outdoors. It is often remarked that they are almost always blessed with good weather. A comparison of the recorded rainfall in Princeton versus nearby communities show that there is sufficiently less rain less often in Princeton on those days with major outdoor activities. If you are curious what the global consciousness dot is and what it means, please refer to the following. It's right here. The current real-time global consciousness project dot. What it means is significantly smaller network variance suggested of deeply shared internal motivating group focus. Small network variance, probable chance of fluctuation. Network, random network variance, slightly increased. strongly increased work and variance. Okay, so it says Nelson's research suggests that focused in Princeton kept the rain away. This amazing facet of research found that our thoughts can sometimes be precognitive. For example, testing results were dramatically amplified before September 2001, as many people knew something big was about to happen, but could not specifically put their finger on about what was going to occur. Many people are either going through the dark night of the soul or have certainly been through it. The dark night of the soul is a purging process where everything that can possibly go wrong seems to go wrong. When you experience the dark night of the soul, you are at the lowest point in your life, but as everyone who has gone through this can attest, amazing door is about to open. Well, many of us have already gone through the dark night of the soul. As a collective, we are still there. We are subjectively mirror ourselves. We know that our personal overcoming of the dark night of the soul is basically a precognitive reflection of what is about to occur for us in the global level. Similar to the precognitive global consciousness prior to 9/11, this is where we are right now. By this time, the event will be positive in accordance to the universal law of harmony. And here's an excerpt from this law of harmony. The universe always works in perfect balance. By aligning yourself with positive energy, you will in turn receive positive energy. When you align yourself with negative, you create a disharmonious ripple effect. The law supersedes even the fundamental law of karma, for harmony is the supreme potential of balance. The purpose of karma is to attain harmony. If you throw a rock into a pond, you disturb the harmony of the pond. You are the cause, and the effect is to splash and ripple and flows out and back until harmony is restored. Similarly, your disharmonious actions flow out into the universe and back upon you, lifetime after lifetime, until your own harmony is restored. When it feels like we are being overloaded with many negative things, such as our poisoning of our air, water, and food supplies, the universal law of harmony will create a balance with something amazingly huge in our near future. Major changes are already occurring due to Pluto entering Capricorn in 2008. Pluto stays in Capricorn until 2023, so this door can open at any given time between today and 2023. For those who are skeptics of astrology, there is a saying, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. The last time Pluto was in Capricorn was during the French and American revolutions in the 1700s. Not by coincidence, many countries are going through revolutions right now. Also, when Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008, we saw the collapse of hundreds of banks, with the exception of the too big to fail banks who are being exposed right now. Pluto will tear everything down that is not in humanity's best interest, including government, money, religion. Governments are collapsing, the dollar is dead, and we are seeing the corruption of the Roman Catholic Church, which will lead to its demise. The Roman Catholic Church has enough money to feed, clothe, and shelter everyone on the planet, so one must ask, why is there starvation and homelessness? Upon the dissolving of the Roman Catholic Church, their net worth will be distributed to every person on the planet, creating instant abundance for everyone. Victor Hugo once said, no army can stop an idea who's come. No army can stop what Pluto and Capricorn will bring us, which is, in the end, peace, prosperity, and abundance for everyone, without tyranny and oppression. Okay, so that's all good stuff. Good stuff ahead. All right, we just have to keep thinking positive, you know. Now it's been the last couple of weeks. I'm not talking about any current events and problems that are out there in the world. I'm not trying to turn a blind eye to it, because I think that's silly. But there are certainly plenty of channels out there to go and listen. There's no need for me to keep putting it out there. I'm kind of feel like my position here is to put out the good, the positive. You know, we need to keep aware. We don't want to be silly and naive about what's going on in life. Sure, there are bad things. But if the mission is to focus on the good, then that's what we need to do. Because continuing to focus on the negative isn't going to get us there. We got to focus on that image of where we want to go. So I notice a difference. Do you notice a difference when we don't talk about all that stuff? All right. Here's the message from Horis. In just momentarily.
Horis.
By Nancy Tate, April 17, 2014.
I am Horis and I am here once more to give you an update. There are going to be mass landings on the surface as soon as the clearance is final. We are in negotiation right now with many of the Earth people who will be monitoring the landings before they come and during the process. They are set in place to guide the ones who will not only see their entry into the atmosphere, but their forward movement to the various places where they will land. This is all coming to the people of Earth for a particular reason, and that is so that they will no longer be able to deny that there is life in outer space, and that we are all united in one cause. That is for the betterment of all of life not only on Earth but throughout the universe. We are all family, as you know, and what does a family do when they are reunited? They rejoice, play, and have a joyful time together once more. This will take place once other events have come into being. There will be a change in the governmental status around the globe. There will be the easement of the financial system, and the other societal systems will all come into alignment with humanity. We will have seen the beginnings of a whole new way of living on Earth in the communities that will be shown to the public that are already in progress, some of which have been for some time. More and more you will all see the changes that are set in place and continuing to be. I tell you this now because it is going to become more and more in the open what is going to be happening on the surface. Also you will see many instances in which we in Hollow and Inner Earth will come forth and work with you in this changing of the guard, so to speak. As the new communities come into being, we will work with you to bring about the changes that may be unfamiliar to you and yet familiar on another level. It isn't that we will do for you what you feel you cannot do. It is that we will support all that you feel to do and are inspired to. It is a matter of your older brothers and sisters standing alongside you and lending a hand with joy and laughter to help make the process one of fun and tremendous change to a more sustainable way of living. Some of you feel that this is something that you are going back to, and that it feels like it is too primitive. I tell you now that it isn't the case. It will be more in tune with Mother Nature, while at the same time, without using the parts of her that are designed for the harmonic interaction for all life on Earth. You will be using energy rather than physical things, such as trees, for housing, and oil for power. It will instead be energetic means by which you will be providing what you desire for your way of life. These means are already being opened up and activated within those of you who are here to bring the information of the technology that will provide you with the power you require. If reference to my opening statement about the coming landings of the ships from outer space, there will be some beings from those ships who will also provide you with information for the advancement of what you will be doing to work in harmony on Mother Gaia. These ones who some of you will recognize, are from various planets in this universe that have been here at various times in the evolvement of this planet. They are bringing the reunion that some of you will remember, and some of you will welcome as a new episode in the Book of Life here on Earth. It will all be in sync with the present times. It will all speak of your family, which in your eyes and heart will have grown in a gigantic way. You will find in your hearts the tugging and caressing at the feelings of excitement and love that you have felt at other times of reunion. Some of you will find that there are dearly beloveds who have left their bodies in what you've seen to be the death process. Some of these ones will come to you and enable you to see what they meant when they may have told you that they will be back in another body. It will be a familiar one, but in another energetic way. I will end this message for now, in order not to overwhelm you. Allow it to sink in and be a part of your comfort zone. There will be more I will share with you in the coming times. When that time arrives you will already be tuned into a point, to what I'll share with you, as you are now with what I have brought to your new day. Enjoy the ride, for it is your choice and your doing with what is on your doorstep and in the throes of creation in this moment. This one, dear Nancy will be sharing with you some news about what her beloved Bob and some other wonderful ones have been involved with recently, as well as in ancient times. It is being brought forward for the grand evolvement of it to harmonize with these glowing times. I, and all the rest of our family inside this earth join with you in these exciting, peaceful, creative times, and sing to the heavens our joy.
Thank you, dear Horis. Much.
All right, that was a good message about some possibilities of things that could exist. You know, I know that there are mixed feelings about the Galactic Federation. I know that there's mixed feelings that people have when they hear channeled messages. We need just to, in my opinion, step away from the labels and listen to what the message is. Because when we listen to what the message is about, we can decide if that message is intended to hurt us or not. It appears that there's going to be some sort of landings at some point or another. We've certainly sought disclosure for quite some time here on this planet. Even though we know that there has been a history on this planet of extraterrestrials, we're still waiting for this big moment in the future to unveil all of this information. So, sooner or later, something is going to happen. We're going to have to decide at that moment what that being is, how we feel about them, and there's going to be a lot of thoughts and a lot of ways that we can act. If we're fearful because we think the only intentions is to harm us, then we're going to behave in a certain way. I think we just need to be open and aware, just like whenever you meet somebody new, of, this is someone different, and find a way to communicate with them. Communicate first and see what they're about, and perhaps we'll find out that the messages that have been coming to us, peaceful messages, are simply that, to assist us, and perhaps we'll find that there is more help out there that wants to see us evolve than not. And perhaps we'll also find that the ones who are trying to hold us back happen to be the ones who are down here already. So, a lot for us to ponder and consider. It's a big question. One of these days we are going to see this going on, and we need to just kind of be aware. So when it happens, we know how we're going to respond and react. We're going to lead with peace, or are we going to lead with fear? That's the big question. All right, let's jump into our meditation for today. Take a deep breath and exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale. Keep breathing and contemplate this affirmation. I am moving in the direction that is best for me. Today and every day, I am grateful. And just feel that gratefulness and feel the direction that you're moving in. Know that it is best for you. Imagine all of your chakras are activated from the bottom of the spine up. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Imagine the energy flowing through your body, multicolored energy, overflowing, spilling out into the space around you in your room, your home, city, state, country, across the sea, all around the world to the other countries. And let's just imagine everybody on the planet all trying to figure out what's going on in life. And just imagine sending a message of peace to them so that they calm down and begin to breathe and just feel the energy, feel the change. And as they do, the people around them are inspired to calm down, and so on and so forth. And we realize that one person can make a difference, that we can inspire each other. And as we do, we find out that we are all ready, willing, and able to be able to express ourselves on the next level of creation. And we understand that there is more good and more love than we realize. And when we allow ourselves to step out of the way, we allow that love and that goodness just to flow forward. So imagine ourselves letting go of all the doubts and the fears that hold us back from expressing the goodness, the godness, the love within us. So imagine yourself walking along the path, just sending out love and light to all you meet. And imagine them going out into the world and doing the same thing. And so on, until everyone is moving around the world just sending out love and light. Imagine that world. And let's hold that thought in our mind's eye as we bring our attention back to the present moment. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. Open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's it for today, for the week. Appreciate you being here. I'll be back on Monday with more news and information. Have an awesome time. Earth Day is this weekend, so celebrate the Earth. And I shall talk to you soon. Peace. Love you. I'm out of here.